and it's very gritty. And it's a different feel compared to what the other MCU stuff that...
MCU. Echo is finally released on Disney Plus and Hulu, and surprise, it's not good at all. Yeah, call me all the phobes you want, because I think this show absolutely sucks. I only watched the show to catch up on some of my favorite characters from the Marvel Netflix series, Daredevil and Kingpin. One is in it for 5 seconds, throws some punches and kicks and runs away, and the other gets defeated by a bunch of girl bosses. Native American girl bosses.
Yes! That's awesome!
Kevin Feige has been doing this thing recently where he takes well-liked characters and just completely ruins them. Well, actually, it's more like he sacrifices these characters to the woke cult on Twitter. Daredevil was made into this bubbly cartoon boyfriend in She-Hulk, and in Echo, Kingpin gets defeated by feeling his emotions? What? Who wrote this?
Authenticity is key. And so for us, that meant involving both deaf creatives and experts, both in front of and behind the camera, but also indigenous experts and creatives, both in front and behind the camera.
Right.
They included everyone in the writer's room except for actual writers. And it's very clear when you watch this show because the writing is very bad and very cringe. Thank God we don't hear half the dialogue, especially with lines like these.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
I wonder which one of those disabled Native American writers wrote that one. Because it's genius. It's 10 out of 10, obviously. The dialogue, the story. Oh, the story. It's so good. The story is mainly about a criminal badass woman who's strong and powerful. And she becomes even more strong and powerful because it turns out her powers are channeling or echoing even more strong and powerful girl bosses who are Native American.
Nice.
If there was an award for most MCU moment in the MCU, this moment would take it. But for real, the story follows Maya Lopez after killing Kingpin, and she returns home to Oklahoma. There, she begins to get rid of Kingpin's influences by blowing up trains and stuff. Listen, it gets real boring real quick in this series. Even though it's 5 episodes, it felt way longer. A big part of this series is the Chotwa tribe, which Maya is a part of. There is several flashback scenes of this tribe and the women in this tribe just absolutely showing men who's the boss. And naturally, those scenes felt like a big lecture. Like I was sitting in a classroom with a professor with blue hair pointing at a screen and saying, "See, women can be strong just like men." Why is it always women fighting men? When are we gonna get some chick fights in these movies and TV shows? Now, in the end, Kingpin is defeated by Maya by, again, him realizing he screwed up. And, you know, nothing really happens. There's really no big character development. Everyone still kind of stays the same. This story is really not going to be that important to the overall universe of the MCU. So when Maya appears again in a bigger project, you know, no one's going to know who she is. And that's going to suck because they're going to have to do another 30-minute recap so everyone is caught up to speed. Alright, the writing and the story are both god-awful in the show, but how was the acting? I will say Vincent D'Onofrio did the best he could, and I really enjoyed him on screen. But the main actress who plays Maya Lopez did not do a very good job. She doesn't really have many facial expressions. Actually, she has one facial expression. Every scene she's in, she has this stone-faced expression. She's just sitting there. Nothing. I mean, I really don't blame her. I mean, the writing is terrible, but also she has little to none acting experience. She worked at an Amazon warehouse before landing this role.
Are you serious?
From Amazon worker to Hawkeye star, how Alaqua Cox beat the odds to become Marvel's next big hero. So, how did she land this gig if she had no prior acting experience? Come on. You know the answer to that. Marvel knows what kind of fans this type of casting will attract.
I love the fact that the main character was deaf. It was American Sign Language, it was Indigenous history.
Someone signing in the middle of a fight was incredible.
So nice leading lady vibes. She's very cool.
I mean, it's a smart move by them, honestly. Dangle a diverse character in front of their faces and they'll just lose their minds and shill for your product forever.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Speaking of people losing their minds and shills, let's talk about our favorite shill, John Roca. During his Echo review, he makes what I call numerous outrageous claims about this series. And I want to play my favorites.
So I thought if they had just pushed the Kingpin stuff aside and made it about a woman who is trying to find her voice in the world, reconnecting with the female ancestors of her past, so she can move away from the grooming of the male negative influences in her life.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I mean, I thought that fight scene was great. I was reading some critique online. It's like, oh, you can see they're telegraphing the punches, and you can see they're missing. It's like, well, yeah, like that happens.
Wait till you watch pro wrestling, guys. Anyway,
Wait till you watch pro wrestling, guys.
Now, as a fan of WWE and professional wrestling entertainment, I am highly offended by this remark. Professional wrestling is stunts done live. No retakes, no reshoots. If you mess up, everyone is going to see it. And hell, sometimes it's not even choreographed to that extent a fight scene in a movie is. Some dudes just go out there and just create a story on the spot with each other. Meanwhile, TVs and movies have time to do reshoots, retakes. They take months to choreograph a fight scene. So you can't just say, oh, they always miss punches. Yeah, they'll miss punches in a project that they don't give a shit about. But if this isn't supposedly the best Marvel show ever, I think that they wouldn't miss any punches. There is time and effort that needs to go into a fight scene, especially if it's a oneer. And you can clearly, when watching these fight scenes, tell who's putting in the time and who's not. The people who worked on the oneer in Daredevil on Netflix clearly put in the time and effort, and the people who worked on Echo's oneer did not. While watching it, it was clear to me they were trying to recreate something or trying to recapture the audience that was watching these Netflix shows. Just a cheap ploy to get people back into watching a shitty TV show. In my opinion, Echo was only made to show how Marvel is very diverse with their characters. It felt like that was their only intention, and unfortunately, that will most likely backfire on them. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think of Echo down in the comments below. Also be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.